Greetings and salutations. I just did a video and I had to delete it because when I was doing a playback, there was no volume, and that was problematic. So I'm trying to figure out my new computer. The last computer I did have a new computer a couple of weeks ago, and I had problems with the speakers. It was making a crackling sound, and it was horrible. So I had to go and get it exchanged, and I did not take the computer out of the package, the new computer I have here, out of the package, which I got last week, until this morning. So, just trying to find the time to do things and trying to get everything set up. And I am talking my head off about what's not related to what I need to talk about. And I want to talk about the death of Colin Powell. I found out this morning that Colin Powell died at the age of 84. He died of apparently COVID complications. And to go and to let you know that we all know who he was. He was the four-star general. He was the commander of the U.S. Armed Forces Command until 1989. He served as the NSA advisor under Ronald Reagan from 1987 to 89, the Joint Chiefs of Staff from 89 to 1993, and he was the Secretary of State under George W. Bush from 2001 to 2005. That we already know. And I'm going to say from the get-go, on a human-to-human level, my condolences to Colin Powell and his family. And in spite of my condolences, and although he seemed like a pleasant kind of person, just in his demeanor from the public appearances I've seen of him over the years, we can't excuse the fact that Colin Powell, well, let's put it this way. Colin Powell was a war criminal. I mean, he was a war criminal. I mean, I know it sounds horrible. It's like, hey, he just died. Could you just show a little bit of class and dignity? No, not really. I didn't do that when John McCain died. And again, John McCain had a pleasant demeanor, and he had a pleasant demeanor, and he was a tone for moderation. Nicer person than that Karen that he has for a daughter. And if she had the foreign policy power that John McCain had over the years, no telling how many more people would have died. But that's besides the subject there. Well, John McCain, George Herbert Walker Bush. I mean, just the whole everything that surrounded his political career. He was a terrible person in spite of that demeanor that he had. Remember that he supported the aiding the Contra rebels down in Nicaragua during the 1980s to topple the Sandinista government. He was a supporter of the right-wing government in El Salvador that were using death squads to commit murder against their population. And the thing is, his objective in his supporting aid to the right-wing government in El Salvador was to destroy the FMSN in El Salvador. I'm sorry, I'm getting the initials wrong between Nicaragua and El Salvador. In 1991, and again in 2003, he supported the war in Iraq. And in 2001, he supported the war in Afghanistan. And remember, Afghanistan, 241,000 innocents died over there. Maybe a few bad guys died as well, but the point is the majority of the people were innocent, and thousands of Americans died on top of that. And when you think about Iraq, I mean, I remember in the summer of 1990 that everybody was worried about Saddam Hussein and what was going on between Iraq and Kuwait. And the U.S. government said, "Well, if Iraq invades Kuwait, it's not. We're not. We don't have a stake in this." And as soon as Iraq invaded Kuwait, there was Desert Shield, and then Desert Shield became Desert Storm, and then you had the sanctions during the Clinton years, and then you had George W. Bush, who had a score to settle with Saddam Hussein, trying to find a reason to go into Iraq. And because I remember Dick Cheney was always talking about things like about the axis of evil, referring to Iraq, Iran, North Korea. I mean, and trying to scare the bejesus out of the American population. Because the American population are like sheep. They can be like sheep at times during times of crisis. And the 9/11 crisis happened, and there was a frenzy for war. And those of us from day one who were opposing these wars, we were looked upon as, well, why are you pro Saddam Hussein? Why do you support Al Qaeda? We don't, but we don't support what the neocons warmongering either, and that's what it came down to. And I just remember the lies that he spoke at the UN. Colin Powell, speaking at the UN, and the lie of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that any damn fool would know we're not there. But of course, I mean, if any damn fool would realize that, it's worse to be less knowledgeable than a fool. And that's unfortunately many Americans these days. So they believe there were weapons of mass destruction, that Saddam Hussein and that Osama bin Laden are sitting there trying to commit war against the West, when the war against the West, if you want to look for a war against the West, all you have to do is look at Saudi Arabia. And the United States sits there and do everything. They flip over backwards every day to Sunday for Saudi Arabia. Whatever they want, they get. And then, we sell them arms. They give them to actual bad guys over there in Yemen. And then yet genocide is being committed in Yemen. And the United States is kind of, indirectly assisting a genocide over there. And that's the damn truth. But, and in that one, I mean, Colin Powell doesn't have his hand on that one. That took place long after Colin Powell was no longer Secretary of State. And the warmongers, it's not really partisan because, I beat up on neocon Republicans, but, Bill Clinton was a neocon Democrat. I mean, with the sanctions against Iraq that was going on and the periodical airstrikes that took place. Hope and change, Barack Obama. He extended the damn wars from 2 countries to 7 countries, and you still had neocons saying he wasn't doing enough. People like Dick Cheney. I mean, and then during the Trump years, he tried to be a paleocon and tried to win with the anti-war conservative base, that little faction that were anti-war. But then he ended up having people like John Bolton in his administration and Mike Pompeo. And remember, Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, is a fucking neocon, no different from Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and all of that. Somebody, when I hear Republicans tell me, hey, Trump was a little different from the other Republicans. Not when he's going around and placating to the Republican establishment, and that's exactly what he did. And now, it is true that Colin Powell, and when it came to non-foreign policy matters, when it came to domestic economics and domestic social issues, he was middle of the road, kind of moderate, kind of sane for a Republican. It's true, he didn't have a problem with the LGBTQ community, seemingly. He was pro-choice, seemingly. He thought that the Republican Party were too far right and being held captive by evangelical Christians, and he was a middle of the road Episcopalian, and you know he he supported Obama. I will argue he's probably supported Obama for the wrong reasons. He supported Obama, and I can understand wanting to see the first black president elected, but on policy, now McCain sucked and Obama sucked. I mean, if he had any integrity, I would say that Colin Powell should have endorsed an Arab American by the name of Ralph Nader in 2008. That's what I did. But the thing about it is that Colin Powell was socially moderate and all that, but moderation is one thing, but there are bad people that never committed crimes. I mean, the fact that Rush Limbaugh didn't actually had authority to pull the trigger into Iraq makes him a less bad person than Colin Powell. And Rush Limbaugh was a piece of shit as far as his politics was concerned. He didn't kill anybody. That's the difference between Rush Limbaugh and Colin Powell. Colin Powell killed people. And that's what it comes down to. And so, the thing about it is, I'm glad he recognizes the Republican Party is off their fucking rockers and they're right wing and they're horrible on just about every issue imaginable. But he decided to go and work with the Democrats, and the difference between the Democrats and Republicans is they're a little bit saner than Republicans. They're less religiously prone to fanaticism than Republicans. They're a little less racist than Republicans, a little more inclusive than Republicans. All that nice. That's very nice. But when you're going around and committing crimes against humanity, that counts for something too. And so and as far as I'm concerned, I have no love for Colin Powell, the same way I had no love lost there for John McCain or any other neocon or what have you, because their foreign policy has done more to weaken the United States than it has to actually make the United States a better place to live. And that's what it comes down to. So I don't particularly have any love lost for Colin Powell. I'm sorry he's dead, and all of that. I'm sorry, and my condolences to he and his family. But no love loss. And I'm going to call it like I see it with anybody who commits war crimes. I'm just going to look at it that way. And keeping company with Bush and Cheney is probably the worst thing a human being can do in this day and age. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, well, that's fine. We'll have a conversation anyway. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And before I go, I want to say hello to my friends on the chat line. I want to say hello to Radical Leftist Agenda. I want to say hello to Trans Marxists. I want to say hello to Invalid Arg. And I thought I saw another name up there, and I can't find that other name up there, but hello to that person as well, and hello to Kevin Toohey. Hello to each and every one of you, and I hope all of y'all are having a great day, and I am about to sign off right now. I do hope that with this new computer that we will have a better quality of programming, but suffice to say that I had problems with the previous commentary, which was on this matter, but there was no voice back. So if there's no voice coming out of this, I'll have to start all over again. I hope that's not the case. But anyway, each and every one of y'all, have a great day. See y'all next time.